All right, guys, so we got to talk about a pretty funny story that takes place in the UK involving woke climate extremists who at some point, I fear that one of them is going to end up with a Darwin Award for blocking traffic, as the people of the UK and Europe are pissed off with these climate extremists blocking traffic and stopping people from living their lives. Okay, I mean, I've done so many videos about this topic, and I haven't done one in a while, but again, I'm doing this video because this one is a little bit more complex than usual. Okay, as the climate extremists are now becoming protesters for illegal immigrants or asylum seekers. Okay, we're talking about the UK here, so I'm not sure if they would classify them as illegal. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe somebody in, the UK that watches my show can tell me, right? What do you guys classify these people as? But anyways, there was a bus that was carrying migrants to what they call a floating prison, right? The name of this floating prison, or a flotel, is Bibi Stockholm, right? That's what it's called. And here's a picture of it just so you guys can get an idea of what this looks like. But they are sending migrants to this flotel, right? Or prison ship. This is what they call it. Okay, because again, this is their strategy for housing migrants, right? They're housing them on ships instead of having them be in general society. Now, there was a bacteria kind of outbreak in the water or something like that caused the migrants to have to evacuate. Now they're being taken back to the so-called prison ship, and the woke climate change extremists are upset. So upset that, again, they tried to block the bus from taking the migrants back to the prison ship. And let's just say that the driver of the bus was not having it. Take a look.
Guys, if you sit down in front of it, sit down in front of it.
Everyone sit down! Is everybody okay?
Yo, again, Look, here's the thing, man. Somebody has to do something about this, okay? Because this is, again, it's gonna end up with a Darwin Award, and I really don't want to see it. But guys, did you see the idiots that decided to sit on the ground, thinking that the bus would stop moving because they sat on the ground while the bus driver is clearly ramming through their blockade, right? He doesn't give a damn. He's just continue to go and go and go. And these idiots really think that sitting on the ground was going to make the bus driver stop. And then they wanted to play victim when the bus driver didn't stop, right? The bus driver kept going. Again, it's crazy, man. It really is, okay? I mean, it's videos like this that really do make me adhere to certain aspects of social Darwinism, right? In the sense that, I do believe that the strongest and fittest survive in human society. And nowadays, to be strong and fit, you don't necessarily need to be physically strong and fit, but you do need to have some common sense. You do need to be intelligent. And when you are lacking common sense and intelligence, then you tend to increase your likelihood of winning a Darwin Award because you participate in stupid activities like this, right? Where, again, you think it's okay to block a bus and the guy is clearly not stopping, right? He's not stopping. And these idiots, they're upset, right? They're mad about this. They're so mad that they're trying to dox the guy, right? That actually, that was driving the bus. Okay, there was a photograph of him. Okay, and they're mad at the bus driver, boohoo, whining and crying, claiming that, he wanted to run me over and blah, 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 right? And I want to go ahead and react to one of these people, these Just Stop Oil protesters, talking about this on the local news.
If you sit down in front of it,
if you sit down in front of it, he'll stop. Idiot.
Everyone sit down!
So the unswerving driver ultimately ploughed on through this obstruction of tangerine loons to drop the migrants off. What I found, absolutely hilarious, and it never ceases to crack me up, this, is that when people deliberately put themselves in positions of danger or massive levels of annoyance to the public and then get hysterical when somebody decides to not do exactly what they want. So you stand in front of a coach, which is a massive vehicle with a driver in it, and then when he continues to driving, you release footage on Twitter with, threats to kill. This guy's tried to kill me. No, you've got in the way of a bus driver. That's what's happened there. But anyway, I am asking tonight,
right?
Were Just Stop Oil wrong to attempt to block a bus? I'm pleased to say that joining me now to defend her group's actions is Just Stop Oil spokesperson Emma Brown. Emma, thank you very, very much. Do you not think that it was all a little bit pathetic, that?
No, I don't think it's pathetic to try and put yourself against harm's way. This coachload of people being put onto a barge, which has been called by the Fire Brigades Union potentially a floating Grenfell. Those words were echoed by a whistleblower from the Dorset Council. I think it's perfectly right to try and take direct action to stop that happening.
But why is Just Stop Oil doing it? This is the thing. Another way to describe that barge, I don't know, have you ever been on the barge, Emma?
Have you seen pictures and testimony, Patrick?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, Emma. I'm glad you have, actually, because our Home and Security editor, Mark White, physically went on the barge and we did a live hit from inside the barge. So we know it quite well here. And to be honest with you, it's absolutely fine, really. So I just wonder why Just Stop Oil have decided to wade in on something like the migrant crisis. I would have thought you'd have enough on stopping us all from burning to death.
Do you understand what happens when we burn fossil fuels in terms of the effects of that, Patrick?
Yeah, I get a lot cheaper energy and more efficiently than the way that you want me to do it, yeah.
OK, so I live in Scotland, and right now we've got a warning, a red weather warning that's a threat to health, and we're expecting 48
it's a storm in Scotland, Emma.
48 hours worth of rain. There's going to be a month worth of rain, sorry. So that is an impact. It might flood people's homes, businesses. It's going to ruin a lot of crops.
Emma,
so
it's a storm in Scotland.
We're seeing all over the world.
It's windy in Scotland, is what you're telling me. It's coming up to November, and it's a bit windy and rainy in Scotland, yeah?
Patrick, that's a complete falsehood that you're manipulating that fact. You know, we've seen floods in Scotland. We've seen entire areas of extreme weather, places that are not normally flooded, and this is happening all over the world.
Okay.
You know, half of Pakistan being underwater. So
Half of Pakistan is underwater. Yo, have you looked at a map? I don't think that half of Pakistan is underwater. Now, 1/3 of Pakistan last year at one point was underwater from historic floods, but that's not the case, right? I haven't heard anybody say half of Pakistan. 1/3 versus a half, that's a big deal, but it's not still underwater, okay? They have recovered, okay? They're still struggling to recover, but that's not actually really a thing. At one point last year, 1/3 allegedly was underwater, but not half, okay? And that's still not a thing. Like, that's over with. Second of all, do you see how brainwashed these people are? These climate extremists, right? They think any weather event that's a little bit worse than you normally experience is climate change, right? Oh my God, the world is ending, right? We need to jump in front of buses, right? Incredible stuff.
Saying is when we burn fossil fuels and it causes extreme weather events, that means that you haven't got access to food. If your crops fail, that might mean your home is flooded. It might mean you're living in an area which is so hot it's uninhabitable.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I would take my children and go somewhere safer. And so that is what is happening.
I do understand that there is extreme weather in Scotland right now. I'm not trying to diminish the impact that it's having on people's lives. What I am trying to make the point is that there is quite often extreme weather. We've had floods that have lost lives, for example, in the Lake District going back years, all sorts of stuff. It's not necessarily completely new. Also, Emma, I would like to politely say that a lot of the people, in fact, the vast majority of the people coming across the channel on small boats are fleeing other human beings from countries like, say, Iran or Afghanistan, not the environmental conditions. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, so, of course. So we're part of the European Convention on Human Rights. And you know why that was set up, don't you, Patrick? It's to protect people fleeing war, persecution.
Yeah, but why are you getting involved with that? Why are Just Stop Oil getting involved with that?
Because they're woke, right? And all the woke revolutionaries, they want the same thing, okay? They want the same thing. This is why. And to answer her question about what would she do in the case of extreme weather, she was like, oh, I'd take my daughter and go somewhere safe. No, you're going to burn more fossil fuels, right? Which is what she's doing now. These lights in the background here that are unnecessarily on, right? You're going to burn more fossil fuels, okay? That's exactly what you're going to do, okay?
That's an issue. I mean, shouldn't you be? Why don't you then go and campaign in places where there are rampant human rights abuses? I mean, I don't see you going and trying to stand in front of a bus in Iran, for example. You wouldn't be able to. You know that.
You've got me on the program, obviously, to try and create some kind of clash, but I'm just trying to get you to join the dots here. If we continue extracting and burning fossil fuels, opening 100 new oil and gas fields, we are contributing to destroying people's homelands, to destroying areas which are already suffering. If we keep burning fossil fuels, those areas are going to become increasingly difficult to live in. So we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that. And for those innocent people who have been caught up in this, who are suffering, just like they are in Europe, in Africa,
do you know for a fact, Emma, do you know for a fact if anyone on that bus was fleeing the environmental problems? Do you know that?
There are so many. Even a lot of wars are being caused by environmental problems because
so you know for a fact. It's just because in the past we've had people who thought they were doing really good work for asylum seekers and refugees, like for example trying to stop some of them getting deported, and then it turned out that some of those people that were getting deported were rapists and murderers. And that was a problem. So are you absolutely certain, 100%, that the people that were on that coach that you tried to block there were fleeing and were needing sanctuary in this country for environmental reasons? And by the way, if the answer to that is yes, and you are certain, then what kind of environmental issue are they fleeing in France?
The people on that bus have come here. There are no safe and legal routes, by the way, Patrick. You know that, and nobody ever says that there are no safe and legal routes. They are coming here to have their asylum claims registered, and while they are doing so, they should be in humane conditions, not being put on a prison boat. This is how we start leaning towards concentration camps. If you isolate people from communities,
right, this is no right. I'm sorry, but this is where you lose people, Emma. This is where you lose people, right? You go from
no, this is where,
I'm telling you, how dare you come out and start talking about concentration camps in Britain? There is nothing similar to housing people in, by the way, a boat that has already housed a load of people who, either are military people or work in deep-sea rigs or things like that. There is no comparison between that and Auschwitz. How dare you make that comparison? Is this kind of hysterical analysis, right, that means that you lose people? You go from saying, oh, it's too hot outside, to you're going to boil in your own sweat.
Okay, have you heard of the Boer War, Patrick? Because the British actually first invented concentration camps during the Boer War.
Right, which were nothing like this boat.
Auschwitz, it means forcing people into small, cramped conditions where they don't have any contact with the outside world and they lose a lot of their rights.
But they do have contact with the outside world.
Like
Emma, they can get outside anytime they like. They don't even have a permanent time restriction, Emma. They can get on a taxpayer-funded bus into the local town.
People's homelands.
Wow. Yeah. This person's delusional. Goes to show you that the woke mind virus is existent in all parts of the West, right? It's a problem in the UK. It's a problem in the United States. And they're facing the same issues, okay? Comparing that prison boat that, probably has some good living conditions, to be quite honest with you. And the fact that they were removed because of bacteria in the water or whatever, right, tells you that, they're not being treated inhumanely, right? Comparing that to a concentration camp is ridiculous, but this is what they do all the time. This is what they do all the time, okay? So, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.